My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca Jorge.
My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca Jorge, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this stream, a live watch along for the Washington ATP 500 match between David Goffin and Bouyun Chalkete. We're, of course, streaming on Talking Tennis as well as on Tennis Asia TV. So, wherever you're watching, hope you are going to join us for the rest of this match. And it's going to be an interesting one because kind of both players are not in particularly good form. David Goffin, of course, earlier this year, got a victory over Carlos Alcaraz. But since then, it's not been too good for him. He's not had, much to be proud of, really, because after that match, I think he actually lost, the match right after that, and then since then, he's not won more than a match or two in any tournament. So, I'm not sure as well if he's maybe just coming back from injury as well. But with Boo, of course, he's also not had a particularly great year as well. I mean, he had a very good year last year, going all the way, doing very well in the Asian swing on the hard courts there. And in particular, China Open, he got to the semis and he beat Musetti and Rublev. This year, he hasn't quite lived up to sort of the expectations he set himself. Yeah, this year, it's not been particularly good. He did get to the final of the 175 tournament earlier this year on clay, losing to Alexander Bublik, which, of course, no shame in that, given how well he's played this year. But it's going to be an interesting one because, of course, Goffin, on his days can beat anyone. But perhaps I think the conditions, the quick hard court, will be favouring Boo. He hasn't done too well recently, but he's had some close matches, and it's going to be an interesting one. Definitely, Boo has a lot of just seen that question there, just a bit from producer saying, who is the most likely player on the men's side from Asia to have US Open success? I don't think Triple Z is fit. Yeah, I know that Jerry Shang seems to be coming back in Montreal. He has, of course, had a surgery, but he's always consistently had physical issues. But assuming that he's his return, we'll have to wait and see how his form is, how his fitness is. But perhaps he could do well. But I'm not particularly hopeful of that, of course. I mean, Bublik as well. I mean, Bublik technically he is, he represents Kazakhstan, so he's obviously having a tremendous year. So he's definitely got a chance to go far. Kei Nishikori does not seem to be fit. If Boo had been, doing better, I mean, perhaps he could be, a player that might be able to get a few victories under his belt. But we'll have to wait and see, really, because Wu, of course, as Wu Yibing is back. I see someone mentioned him there. I mean, he had some good results so far on his comeback, and he's going to be playing Gal Monfils, I think, at this tournament. It's going to be difficult, I think. Monfils is, even in his old age, is playing pretty well at the moment. So, But yeah, it's going to be interesting this match here because Boo is, yeah, he's obviously been struggling for form, but I do think the conditions probably suit him a little bit more. And you know, he loves the hard courts. And he starts off pretty well with an ace there just in his first service game. So it's 1 love to Goffin, but Boo 15 love. Of course, this is the first meeting between these two players. Of course, Goffin was, you know, he got that victory against Carlos Alcaraz, which was actually his second victory over Carlos Alcaraz. He beat him in 2022, which was after, you know, Alcaraz had won the US Open. You know, Goffin, former top 10 player, as high as 7 in the world. He's had some, you know, he's beat a lot of good players over his time. That's a good question there from producer. ATP ranks for Asian players only for the US Open, maybe a top 5 or 3 in order. Who would they be? I think I'd have to check the ATP rankings actually, because just to remind myself. I mean, certainly, I mean, you never really know with him because obviously, as mentioned, Bublik earlier, but he, you know, did tremendous at the French Open, but expectations were high as well after winning Halle to go into Wimbledon, and he lost in the first round. He's certainly up there. I mean, there's not too much going on at the moment on the Asian side. On the men's side, a lot of players on the women's side, but it's just question marks over at the moment. Boo, if he was in form, I think he'd have, you know, good opportunities to do well. Shang as well, potentially. Unfortunately, yeah, I think Zhang Zhizhen, he's injured. So, I mean, those are pretty much, I mean, Nishioka there as well, but I don't particularly fancy him to do too much at the US Open. So, I mean, you're probably going to have, yeah, to be honest, Bublik. And I'd probably, you know, considering that he's just coming back, but I would still probably put maybe Shang at second. And then perhaps Nishikori and then Boo. But yeah, Nishikori is not particularly fit. He's still struggling. And we'll have to see maybe who qualifies at the moment. Yeah, Zhang Zhizhen, I think, would have been definitely one of the top picks if he was fit. He's had some upsets. I think he beat, was it Casper Ruud before he beat at the US Open? So yeah, he's had some good results as well, but just unfortunate for him. So it's 1 game all here, Goffin against Boo early on in this match. Boo is certainly a player that's going to be able to extend the rallies a bit. And I'm not sure if Goffin's going to be too up for it. I'm not sure about his physical state at the moment. He's, of course, 34 now. And we've got the... I'm actually using the Tennis Asia... the Tennis TV stream, which is a bit behind the scoreboard, but that was good play there from Boo. Coming into the net there. Yeah. Comfortable in these conditions, using the quick court to his advantage. Boo's quite a strong player. I mean, I think his potential there is, you know, it's been a disappointing season for him. Oh, good return there. And yeah, so it's actually love 40 now on the Goffin serve. So good start here for Boo. Boo Yun Chowkete. His name is actually just one word. So you'll sometimes see him written as Yunchiketi Bu or Bu Yunchoketi, but it's because his name is, I think he's of traditional Mongolian heritage, so apparently they don't have first names and surnames like that. Yeah, so early break here there for Bu. Good start for him. And definitely, perhaps this is a chance for him to kickstart his season again. I mean, at least, he hasn't been in particularly good form of late, but he's fit, which is more that can be said for the other Chinese players at the moment. So he's got that going for him, and certainly he does have potential. He's quite strong in his serve. Pretty good in that aspect, and yeah, he's definitely a player that can grind it out. Good rally tolerance. So, and yeah, he hits a pretty big ball as well. So, I think Bu as well is a player who has spent a lot of time from in Spain, and I believe his coach is Spanish. And Bu also a bit of a late developer and an interesting, a bit different of a sort of path into professional tennis, because I mean, I think it was because of the pandemic, but like he didn't play any pro tennis, I don't think, pretty much from the age of 18. Yeah, and only really went like full pro when he was 20. But then, quickly went up the rankings. Did well on the Challenger Tour last year, and then really sort of broke through on the ATP Tour in autumn. And then, yeah, just hasn't really been able to carry that on this year. I mean, I saw him actually play against Nuno Borges in Hong Kong at the start of the year. And I believe, yeah, that was the last set. He lost in a tiebreak, but he was up a break and could have served for that, that third set. Didn't take it. He probably really should have taken that match. And yeah, that's sort of been the story of his season, I would say, but so far. And yeah, quite a lot of errors, isn't it, from Goffin? It's not looking too good for him at the moment. Quite a weak effort so far. But still, I mean, in his depleted state, these days compared to what he was, Goffin managed to beat Alcaraz earlier this year, and for the second time. Oh yeah, that's good play there from Bu, jumping into the backhand for the winner, and he's looking pretty sharp right now. He lost in the second round in the last tournament and lost Cabos. Bu, but that was quite a tight match. He lost in the final set tiebreak. And there we go. It's 3-1, isn't it, to Bu? So that serve unreturned. Yeah, I was looking through some of the stats for Goffin, and perhaps doesn't get enough credit for this, but the year that he went to the final, the ATP finals. He actually beat. That was in 2017. He beat the big three, all of them, in the 1 year, and he beat Dominic Thiem 3 times in that 1 year. So pretty tremendous there. I don't think. Yeah, I mean that was really his peak. But still, since then, now and then, he's just been able to get these big victories. But yeah, still, it's been a bit of a struggle for him of late. And that was a double fault there from Goffin. It seems like the scoreboard is now ahead of my stream again. But it does look like, according to that scoreline there, that I've just got to 30-15, but Goffin is about to close out the game. Good athlete is Boo. Yeah, slides around on the court and moves quick. It's particularly good sliding out on his forehand side. Second serve for Goffin here. That's a decent enough return from Boo. We're in a rally. Backhand to backhand. Oh, that was there again. It was, I just mentioned before, Boo sliding on the forehand side, but that ball clipped the top of the net and just dropped over. So a bit of luck there for Boo as he wins the point like that. But he does take the game, Goffin, so it's Boo who leads 3-2, but it's, yeah, he's got the break. Now, what I wanted to look up was the draw for this, because specifically to see who the winner of this match will play. So, yes, so whoever wins this match will have to go and play the 7th seed, Alex de Minaur. Very tricky match, obviously difficult with how consistent he is these days. Producers asking about Zhang. Oh yeah, can win. So yeah, big news with her is that the Chinese #1 on the women's side, I think current number 6 in the world, she had to have surgery on an elbow issue, arthroscopic surgery, I think. I mean, it was clear that there was an issue with her arm, and yeah, eventually deciding to get it done. She was wearing that compression sleeve a lot, but unfortunately that's going to rule her out of the US Open. She already pulled out of that. So it's just a question of when she'll be back and what this means, because she does have a lot of points to defend. I mean, of course, you pulling out the US Open is bad because she reached the quarters, I think, last year. And then, yeah, she did she had a really good run during the Chinese tournament. She got to the final, I think Wuhan. Lost to Sabalenka, of course. But yeah, it's going to be tough for her because, yeah, really not ideal, and potentially she might have to slip down the rankings quite a bit. But we'll see if the surgery's been successful. She might be able to hit the ground running. But I think she might be trying to aim for the Billie Jean King Cup finals, which are being held in Shenzhen, China, in September. So not long after the US Open, but she's been named in the team, of course, but obviously with it being in China, especially, should be hoping to make that, but pressure on her, to come back in that kind of environment where she's she's going to be carrying a lot of weight in her shoulders. But although also on that team is Wang Jinyu, who's actually been very good of late. Oh, is it Alexander Vukic got the win over Pesci Pericard? Yeah, that is good as well. Especially in a sort of quick surface like this where not going to be easy to get the break against Pesci Pericard. But now Boo is under a bit of trouble here at love 30 on his own serve. And it's going to be a second serve here. Chance perhaps for Goffin to break back. Yeah, that wasn't a particularly good return. I think he would have hoped to have done better, Goffin, but the follow-up from Boo, he manages to come in to the net and finish off nicely. So we've seen that a few times from Boo. He's going to try and come forward and finish the points, and on a quicker surface, yeah, for sure. The way he plays, it can be done. Producer says, wow, Nishioka. I know he did win, didn't he? Nishioka. He got the win over Brooksby, which is, I think, pretty good victory, isn't it? I mean, Brooksby very tricky. He's actually had some good wins this year. And then I think he'd actually, if I remember rightly, Brooksby had a really good run in Washington like a few years ago before, he had the ban for missing the doping test. But so, yeah, I mean, Nishioka, and he will go through to play Flavio Caboli. Tough against Caboli. That was a better return there from Goffin. Oh, and he little cheeky finish there at the net there. He looked like he was going to go big, and then he just tapped it. Little gentle touch over the net. So Goffin does have a break point. It's at 30-40 on the Boo serve. Interesting to see how Wu does against Monfils. It's going to be pretty difficult against an athlete like Monfils, but Wu's got a pretty big game, so if he does well, perhaps he can make that exciting. Both got exciting games. Well, that was a big serve, first serve there from Boo, and he holds on to take it to Juice. Wu Yibing is another just a very unfortunate because him as well. He had a tremendous match against Carlos Alcaraz in Shanghai. It was the third round. He really was playing at an incredible level, and he lost in straight sets. But the first set went to a tiebreak, and even Carlos Alcaraz was like, I wasn't used to feeling like that on the court because at times he was getting dominated. But yeah, he's an exciting player when he's playing well. But Goffin has another break point here. Yeah, but it's another good first serve there from Boo to save another break point. Yeah, so Boo's got quite a low ball toss, quick action, but it works well for him. And that was this time the serve out wide, advantage Boo. And we're in a bit of a rally now. Yeah, and it was a extended rally, finally ending with the error from Goffin. So Boo holds on 4-2, and yeah, good hold from Boo's point of view. I think, yeah, when you get into those longer rallies, you're probably now expecting Boo to hold on. He's just, yeah, tough player. And yeah, let's have a look at some of the other scores. Of course, it's not only the men's, we've also got women playing now. Tatiana Maria is playing Taylor Townsend at 3-all in the first set. Caroline Dolhide is up 5-2 on McCartney Kessler. Oh, 15-all double fault. Thoughts on the Venus wildcard? Well, she got the wildcard in the doubles and they did win, right? So, I mean, that's good for her, winning in the doubles there. But she has to play Venus. Who's she been drawn against? It was the American player, right? Yeah, I would imagine that's yeah, Peyton Stearns, yeah, who's quite a tough competitor. She's not going to be the kind of player that's going to make it easy for her. So yeah, potentially could be an ugly one. But let's see, because I mean, I didn't see Venus in the doubles match. Of course, doubles is completely different, but
Game set.
at the end of the day, she's Venus Williams, so people are going to come out and watch her matches. I think during her doubles match, yeah, everyone, she had a full crowd at her court while the men's match was going on, and there was not many people there. So she still has that, the ability to get bums on seats. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's the thinking behind giving her the wild card. And certainly, even if she does lose in that match, she might be able to go on a good run in the doubles. We'll see.
Game set.
So Goffin holds on there. Still Boo up a break. Brandon Nakashima up a break as well against Ethan Quinn. 4-2 there, but it's at deuce on the Nakashima serve. Brandon Nakashima's maybe a player that could do well in this tournament, I think, but obviously playing in the US, I think he does like the quicker courts and certainly is a hard court player. Of course, another player from Kazakhstan was in the doubles with Emma Raducanu, and they managed to get a victory. That was a pretty good victory for Rybakina and Raducanu.
Game set.
certainly Rebecca and I'll be hoping to go far. Yeah, some of the other scores there, I think in Kitzbühel on the screen there.
Game set.
Yeah, so it's 15 love. And another good first serve banged down there by Boo. So now it's 30 love. Being strong on serve, Boo.
Game set.
Wow. Yeah, that was a big forehand in that rally. I thought it was going to go long, but it must have just landed on the line from Boo. Eventually comes out top in that rally, and it's 40 love. So at the moment, it looks like Boo is, strolling to a first set. Oh, it was well read from Goffin. Boo going for the kicker out wide, but Goffin was all over it, and he hits a backhand return winner. So 40-15 now, Boo. And if he can hold here, he'll be just one game away from the first set. Oh, it's double fault for Boo now. This perhaps here is a little chance. Is this going to be? Yeah, this is. Perhaps is he getting a little bit tight? Oh no, he's going to close it off. We can see on the score there on the screen that Boo has taken the game. I'm just a little bit behind. So yeah, that's another good first serve down the tee at an ace this time. And he's been good at coming up with those first serves at moments when he needed them. Boo's idol, by the way, which I found from ATP website, is not one of the big three. It is, in fact, Andy Murray. And he did manage to play him at Surbiton back in 2023. Yeah, when that period when Murray was playing challengers. Of course, Murray won that match. So yeah, it's always an interesting tournament, Washington, and it's maybe hard to sort of pick a winner. Who you think's going to win this tournament? This certainly Fritz, you would imagine, has a good shot to go all the way, but I think a lot of players do, and Shelton. It also gets really interesting in Toronto as well next week because so many players haven't pulled out. You know, particularly the big favourites: Alcaraz, Sinner, Djokovic, and Draper. Big opportunity for another player, perhaps a surprise Masters winner. We'll see. So Goffin does hold there, so it's 5-4. Boo will be under pressure now to serve out this set and you know, hopefully for him, take it 6-4. If you're watching on Talking Tennis or Tennis Asia TV, please hit like and subscribe if you have not done so already. We will be giving you more live streams and other tennis content in the future. Good question. Any up-and-coming players we should be looking out for in Asia? Certainly, Ayala is one that's obviously, you know, she's got a lot of attention with her runs this year. I mean, what is Ayala's ceiling? I think, you know, she has, you know, top 50 potential, and then perhaps, you know, I think she can be a player that would be seeded, you know, in the slams. So, and perhaps maybe top 20. Who knows? That's maybe her ceiling, I would say. But top 10 is I think, you know, be difficult with, you know, where her serve is. I mean, her serve is obviously a weakness, and it should be better than it is. But of course, that is something that can be worked on. So, you know, perhaps with the right coaching, she can do better, because the rest of her game's pretty good. I mean, she's not got the biggest weapons, but you know, she's quite an aggressive player. She's quite good overall technically. And other Asian players though that we should be watching out for. Well, one on the women's side that I'd say is maybe going under the radar a bit, but I haven't seen too much of her. That's the first point there for Boo, by the way. 15 love. So I would say there's a Indonesian player called Janice Chen who's just entered the top 200 after winning like a ridiculous number of matches on the ITF. But she, you know, she's 23 years of age because she only graduated from US college last year. So this is increasingly a route that players are taking. But a lot of these players coming out of college, you know, are coming out, you know, very complete players. And I believe she's just playing in the US now, 100 tournaments. She's coming to the US to step up, but she'll have a chance to qualify for the US Open. So I think that's one that's perhaps, well, for sure, she's going under the radar. And I thought on the women's side, yeah, the player, there's a couple of players from Thailand coming up, but Sawankau and Tara Rudi, but they'll have chances to get into the US Open. That's a good serve there from Boo, so he will have 3 set points. Yeah, the backhand going into the net there from Goffin. A little bit of anger, I think, behind that one. And It's Boo who takes the first set 6-4. Aoi Ito is another Asian player that from Japan, 21 years of age. Hasn't done too well of late though, but she's got a very unique style. But I think that sort of leaves her a bit vulnerable against some of the big power hitters, but she does have potential to maybe move up a little bit in the rankings. Definitely an exciting player to watch when she plays well. So yeah, just we can see the set one stats here. Winners 12-8. Unforced errors for Boo, so good at ratio there. Yeah. And yeah, certainly deserves his lead. So, favorite slam to visit as a fan? I will not be going to the US Open this year. I wish I could be, but favorite one to go as a fan? That's a good question. I have been to the US Open, Wimbledon, and the Australian Open. I thought the US Open was pretty good, but it was a bit intense. It was extremely busy when I was there. It's pretty like expensive and like, I mean, Arthur Ashe. I mean, unless I guess you're down maybe near the stadium, near the court, is I don't know. The vibe in Arthur Ashe to me wasn't particularly great. Maybe I should have been there for the night session or something, but I preferred Louis Armstrong Stadium. But it was just it was quite intense going around the US Open grounds, I felt like. Whereas I kind of liked the grounds at Wimbledon more. Australian Open also got pretty busy as well, but I think that's because Kyrgios was playing one day and a lot of fans out to see him. But I like the stadium in the Arthur Ashe Rod Laver Arena is a nice centre court. And so the second set's already underway. Yeah, 30 love from Goffin. The thing that's cool about Wimbledon is that they allow you to take in either a bottle of wine or like a few beers. And so you can take in your own alcohol if you want to do that. Certainly the US Open does not allow that. US Open was expensive. Yeah, so Goffin gets the lead in this second set. I think first time in the match. Actually, other than probably the first game of the previous set. So yeah, he's up 1-love in this set. It's a good question there from producer. Is Sabalenka going slamless in 2025? we'll see. I mean, it's been very disappointing from her point of view, isn't it? I mean, losing out to Anisimova like that, and then only for Anisimova to get steamrolled in the final, and probably in the final, you'd fancy Sabalenka against Swiatek, but on grass. But yes, it's incredible, really, because she has 12,400 points, and the number 2, Coco Gauff, has almost 5,000 points fewer. That's a huge gap, and yet Sabalenka has not won a slam this year. I don't know. I wouldn't be that surprised if maybe she could knuckle down and take the US Open, but there's no reason why she couldn't. It's, perhaps depends on how, always depends on how the sort of draw goes. And double fault there from Boo, 15-0. But of course, Iga, you could say, has maybe got her mojo back, because obviously tremendous for her to be able to win Wimbledon and get that out of the way. Obviously a previous winner at the US Open back in 2022. So perhaps she'll be, hitting form at just the right time for her to go and take the title. Boo is under a little bit of pressure here, though. It's 15-30 on his serve. Let's see if he can come up with... He's trying to go for that serve down the tee again, but it will be a second serve as that goes into the net. And we're in a longer rally now. Oh. Oh, yeah. So Goffin doing really well to come out in that rally. Just taking the ball early and using the ankles, trying to get a bit more time for himself, and he does come out on top. And so he has 2 break points. Nakashima opposite in a break. Yeah, and definitely I think Nakashima has a chance to do well here. Obviously home players tend to do well in their home tournaments, and the conditions just suit him well. Talking about US Open last year, Nakashima, I saw him play against Holger Rune, and don't know if I've ever seen Nakashima play better than that. He was just, for the part of the match that I watched, he was just on fire. Of course, he got the victory over Rune. Boo saved one of the break points. It's 30-40. Oh, and he does it again. Another big first serve. This time out wide. It's unreturned from Goffin. Don't know if that quite counts as an ace. I think maybe he got just slightly got a racket onto it. But I mean, that is... Yeah, I mean, several times now that he's come up with a big serve on like a break point or a tight moment, and yeah, and another ace. So he could bring it to advantage for Boo. Yeah, and for Boo, it's it's not been the best of seasons. But getting a result here will certainly be a big boost for him. It's, decent player in Goffin. It'll be very tough against Demonor in the second round, but, perhaps you can go in with a little bit of pressure off, and who knows what will happen. Yeah, 1 game all then. Another good hold from Boo from 1540 down. Good start from Goffin in this game. An ace. 15 low. Yeah, interesting lineup in Washington. Yeah, missing big talents, but I think it's quite a good lineup in terms of somewhat even, and yeah, good players in terms of it's quite balanced as well, I'd say, the draw, so it's hard to pick a winner, I would say. I noticed that Holger Rune has been working with Andre Agassi here in Washington. I think this is just for being a one-off thing, maybe for a few days. I don't know if that's going to go on any longer. It would be interesting to see if Agassi has any impact on Rune. Rune was saying, that the way Agassi talks about the game, his insight is not something he's really encountered before. So we'll see. Rune, he has to play against Alexander Muller and potentially Alex Mickelson or Dan Evans in the next round. So not too bad for him, you'd have to say. Potentially, though, we'll have to face Medvedev in the quarterfinals. Another double fault there from Goffin. Producer's asking, are you a fan of the 12 to 14 day 1000s? I'm not particularly. I think I don't mind. I mean, I think, when we had them as just Indian Wells and Miami, that was fine because, you had those as a sort of, it's quite a long gap between the Australian Open and the French Open. And so that was kind of cool having those Masters having their own thing going on there. I think having so many of them, it's not the best, I don't think, from a tennis fan's interest point of view. On the other hand, I think probably a lot of the guys, if you're a tennis player, on the lower end of the top 100, those players are probably enjoying that because it gives them an opportunity to get a little bit more prize money, basically, and potentially a bit more points if you're able to get into the draw and get a few wins under your belt. And even if they drop out, a lot of these tournaments, they have those, decent sized challenger tournaments that they can drop into. But I think, you've seen Taro Daniel talking a lot about, the expenses that, he's one of those players. He's always been outside the top 50, maybe just inside the top 100, maybe a bit below. So it's, players like that, it's a bit more of a struggle to play. So I think, from his point of view, I think he said before in an interview that he actually likes having the bigger tournaments like that, which makes sense from his point of view, I suppose. But I just don't really think there was like a real need for it in terms of the tour. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things in the tour I don't really think make sense. And just the fact that so many players have withdrawn from the Canada Masters, so soon after Wimbledon. I don't really blame those top three players. I mean, Djokovic, Sinner, and Alcaraz. I don't blame them for pulling out at all. I mean, certainly, if there was any logic, you'd have the slams anyway more sort of spread out in the year, but it's probably. I mean, there's so many things to take into consideration, but yeah, I'm not the biggest fan. As Boo bangs down another ace there to bring it to 30 love. I wonder what his ace count is now at the moment. Boo. 6 aces now. Obviously, the quick court's definitely helping him out, but on his day, that's what he brings. That's another ace. Yeah, so that was actually the 6th ace. That was yeah, because the stats there are just a bit ahead of my stream. And Boo takes the game 2-all. Yeah, good forehand there from Boo. And again, coming into the net and finishing off nicely. We were talking about earlier about Asian players on the men's side that could have a chance of doing well at the US Open. Perhaps it would be Boo. Maybe he's going to get a bit of luck and re-kickstart his season. Oh, wow. I've no idea how Boo's managed to keep this point going, but he does eventually make an error. He kept that going longer than he should have, though. The movement and the athleticism there from him doing well. Qinwen, though. The Chinese number 1 on the women's side. Is she going to play the Asian swing? I guess that is what she hopes for. I mean, as I said before, she's been named in that the Billie Jean King Cup squad, which is, you know, those finals are played in the middle of September, I think 15th to 21st of September. I mean, that might be coming a bit too soon for her. I'm not sure, but obviously just after that, that's basically the Asian swing, right? So I'm sure that that's what she's going to be hoping to do at the moment. So she has a lot of points to defend there. So yeah, she's definitely going to be desperate to be playing. It's 15:30 here, and we're in another rally. And yeah, that was a little bit of injection of pace from Goffin on the forehand, and it draws the error from Boo. So 30 all we go. Yeah, and that's another good question because, yeah, Goffin, he's 34 now. I mean, he seemed to be having some physical issues. In spite of him beating Alcaraz recently, I think the last time that he won a title or has even been in an ATP final was 3 years ago. So yeah, I mean, there's not been much to be excited about from his point of view. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, perhaps another year on the tour for him. It's a double fault there. He had game point, but it's double fault when we go to deuce. Stan won a match, as in Stan Wawrinka. Oh yeah, that was in Umag. He won a match against qualifier from Ecuador that I've never heard of before. Okay, so yeah, so we've got another couple of tournaments going on in Europe while this tournament's going on in Washington. On the ATP side, yeah, so, and those are clay court tournaments, Kitzbühel in Austria and at Umag in Croatia. Talking about tennis, Asian tennis players. One player in the draw in Umag is Jason Sheng. He will play Darderi, the number 2 seed. But of course, Sheng is very good on clay. And he did get a win already in straights against Zeppieri in the first round there. So an ATP win for him, which doesn't come about too often because he's mostly playing challengers, but he does, he's had some good wins, good runs of form on the Challenger Tour this year, you know, particularly on the clay. And yeah, I think he's now up about 100 in the ranking, so perhaps a little opportunity for Jason Sheng. And Wawrinka will play Zhumer. Francisco Cerundolo, the number 1 seed in that tournament. Kitzbühel. Alexander Bublik's playing there as the number 1 seed. Of course, Bublik, just fresh off winning the title in Gstaad. Tremendous year that Bublik's been having. Obviously making the quarterfinals at the French Open. He won also before that a clay title, 175, and then he won Halle, the 500 title on grass. So yeah, he's showing his prowess on all the surfaces. Yeah, he did lose in the first round of Wimbledon. But he lost to, was it Munar, right? So Jaume Munar is showing how, he's been surprising this year. He's done particularly well. Yeah, and doing well on maybe all the other surfaces. So yeah, so that's the question: is can Bublik actually? He's shown very good form on these tour events. Can he actually bring it again? Well, I mean, he already guessed that he did by reaching the quarterfinals of French Open. Well, let's see if he can do it on a stage like the US Open. Oh, wow. Again, Boo coming in and great athleticism at the net, getting down low and with a little a little drop volley, beautifully executed. And we've got a break point here. Yeah, Boo gets the advantage. And Boo looking sharp, it must be said. Let's see if he can close this because he's going to get a look at a second serve. Voted Boo, but I'm cheating by voting. Oh dear. Had a chance ball there to step in and really finish off with a winner, perhaps on that forehand side, but Boo sends it way long. And is that an opportunity missed? Is that going to be something that he'll regret? I'm going to guess maybe not, because Goffin is struggling a little bit, but oh dear, yeah, that was a bad double fault. And yeah, Goffin handing another breakpoint opportunity back to Boo. Yeah, and of course, Washington, this one. Second serve from Goffin. Oh, and his backhand goes out. Tries to take the backhand up the line, but it goes wide, and that is the break for Boo. And you got to say that looks like it might be crucial in terms of who's going to win this match, because Boo really has been on top. As I say, Washington is an ATP 500, but it's one with quite a big draw, and yeah, that makes it an interesting tournament. Seems like it's like a fun tournament to go visit. Yeah, the 48 player draw, of course, with all the seeds getting a first round bye. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the American summer can be very hot and humid. It certainly can be in Washington right now in the middle of July. Yeah, I was trying to think if I'd been to a 500 tournament, but I have. Of course, I went to the 500 in Tokyo, which was good, of course, and wouldn't mind going back. Wow. Big forehand winner there from Goffin to start this game. Love 15. Of course, we were talking about Bublik earlier, who represents Kazakhstan. Of course, I'm in Seoul, in Korea, and I saw that Kazakhstan are playing a tie against Korea here in Korea for the Davis Cup. I think it's a World Group 1 tie. Just potentially a good one if Bublik's playing. I think also at that time they've got the Davis Cup second round, isn't it? Before the finals. And I think Japan is playing Germany in Tokyo. Oh, unbelievable. That was a good forehand there from Boo. But then Goffin just sort of gets a racket on it and it just floats just over the net. And it was just a little, well, the ball just died. And, well, Boo couldn't get it over. So Goffin has 3 breakback points. It's love 40 on the Boo serve. So didn't really expect this to happen, but here we are. Well, there's Boo banging down a good first serve again when down a break point. Seen that so many times now in this match. Wow, some rally. Oh, Goffin ends up winning that one. And he's back in it, perhaps. Back on serve at 3-0. Do you think the Asian swing might be better placed in January before the AO if they put the slam back a week or two? Well, it would be difficult to do it then because, I mean, if you some of the Asian swing tournaments, if you have them in January, it's going to be like too cold. You can't have it at that time. No, like, I mean, but well, it depends which ones. I mean, like Hong Kong, they have it in January, but Hong Kong's quite far south, so it's quite nice at that time actually. But then, you know, like Tokyo is quite cold. Yeah, here's freezing in January, so yeah, I don't think that would be good, but I don't know that. I think the problem with the Asian swing is that because it comes after the last slam, like it kind of doesn't feel like that important. And of course, yeah, I guess you got the ATP finals after that, but then I think like because you know back in the day they used to have the Australian Open in like I think it was December. So like if you had like the Asian tournaments maybe at that time, and then finish with the Australian Open in December, that'd be quite a big change. But I don't know. You could maybe do it, but just don't think. And they used to have a ATP tournament in Bangkok, and they had one in Malaysia. But I guess they have the Masters in Shanghai. Yeah, and that's probably I think that's probably yeah, it'd be too cold to do it in January. It would be too much. Oh, you can feel both players up in the intensity a bit here. Boo gets it back to Juice. Already trying to respond after losing that break that he had so easily. Oh. How is this rally still going? I think Boo should have finished it off. Oh, but it ends with the error from Goffin. So it's going to be another break point for this time for Boo. And potentially 3 consecutive breaks in this set. Good question. Did Wawrinka get a wild card for the US Open as a former champion? He certainly would be entitled to one. Oh, lovely forehand there. Inside out from Goffin. Yeah, the winner there to save break point. And we're back at Juice. An advantage to Goffin. Regarding the US Open, I don't think have they announced the wild cards yet? Don't know if that's been decided yet, but otherwise Wawrinka might have to qualify, but I doubt they would make him qualify. I think they would probably just give him a wild card. I mean, as a former champion, you're pretty much like they're going to give you one if you want it, probably. I think it was actually 10 years ago, wasn't it? Wawrinka won the US Open. Yeah, 2015. Was it 2015? Or was it 2016? Maybe I've got that wrong. Wawrinka. Yeah, it was a 2016 US Open, right? Because the French Open was 2015. Ooh. So maybe you don't always get a wild card. But I mean, that was Katerina Siniakova applying for the wild card for the mixed doubles event, but two, that as a number one, still didn't get in. I don't like the doubles idea for the US Open because I don't know, like it just makes it seem not like a just Grand Slam. It just seems like some sort of exhibition event, which is really not what a Grand Slam should feel like. I mean, that shouldn't be the US Open. I don't think. Have that maybe, yeah, you can have it for some warm up, have it some other trophy, but don't like say like this is the US Open. I just think that's just weird and it is kind of a bit disrespectful for the other like doubles players. So a quick hold from Boo there, still on serve here. And confirmation there that Brandon Nakashima has got through in straight sets, 6-3, 6-4. Good for him. And he will play Nakashima, the winner of Nori or Musetti. That's an interesting battle there. I think maybe Wu does have a chance, but against Monfils, I mean, Monfils, he's been okay, right? But I mean, he hasn't had like a lot of wins, right? So it'd be interesting because I think Wu's going to be really up for it. It's been a long time for Wu to have played in an event like this, so it's a pretty big event. So I always think that's a factor, the motivation factor, and we'll see how Monfils is feeling. Jean Faria losing 6-2, 6-2 in Kitzbühel. I mean, I would like Wu. I would, I'm going to say it. Yeah, I'd like to see Wu get that victory and see if he can do something here, because yeah, it'd be good to see him. He definitely has the ability to do well, obviously on hard courts, and yeah, perhaps he can make an impact in this hard court season. Another double fault there from Goffin, 30 all. Oh, that's a return ace there from Boo. Just well placed, going back in cross court. And that's going to be quite a tie in the second round, is Elena Rybakina against Victoria Mboko. Victoria Mboko, of course, an incredible talent. And Goffin saving another break point, coming out on top in that rally. That gets it back to deuce. Yeah, some pretty interesting potential matchups on the women's side. I mentioned Rybakina and Mboko. The winner of Koshik and Raducanu perhaps playing Osaka in the second round. And that was a good point there again from David Goffin. Advantage Goffin. Can he wriggle his way out of this one? But it's going to be a second serve. Wu is there to pounce. And yeah, he does well, coming in aggressively with a forehand. And it's a deuce, and this feels like a huge moment here, because obviously Boo breaks, then he will serve for the match. Oh, and that's the error there from Goffin, and this could be basically match point pretty much here, but we'll see. Ooh. There will be a second serve. Oh, well dealt with by Goffin, and he does hold on back to deuce. So to his credit, Goffin hanging in there. Oh, the error forehand there from Boo into the net. And he is very disappointed with that. Well, Boo, you know, seen him a few times now this year, losing matches that you felt like maybe was there for him to take. And is he going to regret this? That is a tremendous forehand winner there from Goffin. And Boo will have to come out and serve to stay in this second set. And Goffin, of course, a chance to take it to a third. Well, well, well. Coleman Wong. What's up, Coleman? Coleman was playing on clay because he was playing the university tournament. He lost in Gstaad, but then he was playing. Yeah, but there was some tournament on clay though, just like it was a university tournament. So I think he's still like part-time at Hong Kong University, so he was competing in that, but I think he lost from because he won the first set 6-love. He won the first set 6-love, and then he lost the next two sets like I think was it tie breaks. So yeah, tough loss for him, but I surprised that he was playing that tournament, but yeah. I guess now he goes off. I mean, I think he's kind of Coleman sort of. Yeah, he's not really progressed in the last year, so really should be getting back on the hard courts. Coleman Wong sent packing. World University Games. Britain's James Connell. There you go. So Wong was actually the top seed. Yeah, I mean, I guess he felt obligated to play that tournament. I feel like if ideally he should be playing, should have been off playing the hard court challenger tournaments. That's hard court's definitely his best surface, and obviously chance he'd be in the US Open qualifying. So I think he did well in Chicago. I don't know if he's semis or the final last year, or one of the American challengers. So yeah, a little bit of pressure on him to defend that as well. So, and that's a good first serve there from Boo Yunchakete to take it to 30-15. Eight aces in this match now so far from Boo. Oh, and that's a great passing shot on his forehand cross court from Boo. Take it to 40-15. And it's got better this match as it went on. Wow, that was a decent serve, but it was a great return from Goffin. Players up in the aggression here. This is quite a rally. Wow. Oh, tremendous winner there from Goffin, counter punching. What a rally that was. Boo also showing some great athleticism. 40-30 though. So still game point for Boo. Yeah. And that second serve bounces off the top of the net out. So it's a double fault, and it's pressure here for Boo at Juice. Serving at 4-5 in this second set. So close to breaking previously and perhaps having a chance to serve for the match. Oh, but there he does it again. Another first serve ace down the tee. 10 aces. Or 9 aces, is it? But yeah, just so many times he's in important moments he's hit good serves. Oh yeah, another ace there. So yeah, that's 10 aces for Boo in this match, and yeah, he's been holding well. Pressure back a little bit on Goffin now. Oh, wow. I mean, I guess Boo did really well to, like, you know, running on the stretch just to get it back at all. But I mean, obviously, Goffin should be doing much better than that. I mean, that was, yeah, just way down into the net. But yeah, that was the serve out wide from Goffin. I think Boo will be feeling he should have done better with that return, which goes out. So Goffin can perhaps forget about that volley for a moment as he serves this out wide. This time it's an ace. 30-15. Oh, the error there from Goffin. Yeah, tense moments here. You can feel the pressure, the intensity has increased. Oh, it's a good return there from Boo. And it does draw the error from Goffin. So another breakpoint opportunity. Can Boo take it this time? He failed to do it before. And again, give himself an opportunity to serve for the match. Well, it's a decent serve, though, from Goffin, but it is returned well, and Goffin sends it out. So Boo does get the break, and a big roar from Boo. It looks like he will be able to see out this match, but he'll still have to finish it off in his serve. So let's see what happens. But does feel crucial. And yeah, does Goffin regret that bad volley now? That was just at the beginning of the game, but you know, every point counts. Total of 70 points for Boo to 64 for Goffin. It does feel like Boo has stretched ahead in some of those key moments. So let's see, though, if he's able to get the job done here and see out this match in straight sets. And it'll be quite some time for Boo to have had a victory at a 500 level or above. I mean, actually, the last time was in March in Miami. He did get a victory over Cameron Norrie in Miami in straight sets. And then just before that in Indian Wells against Bashvareddy. Yeah, good start there from Boo, 15 love. Of course, it was in an ATP 500 last year where Boo really broke through in Beijing, beating his countryman Shang, then Musetti, and then Rublev before losing out to Sinner. But even took Sinner to a tiebreak. And just before that, he got to the semis in Hangzhou. So yeah, Boo's going to have to defend those points in the autumn. So you could do with getting into form at this moment in time, maybe building up some points before that. Yeah, decent serve again. 30-15. Oh, big serve. But it's returned by Goffin. Wow. In the end, a lovely forehand winner up the line. And Goffin takes it to 30-all. Keeping that pressure on Boo here. Making him work for it. So can Boo bang down another big serve here? Nope, it goes into net. It'll be a second serve. Oh, and it's returned aggressively from Goffin, who steps in, and he does hit a nice volley this time, unlike in the previous game. And he will have a break back point and a chance to take it to a tie break. Wow. Goffin is hanging in there, and that was a really nice move from him, it must be said. Oh, it's going to be a second serve. Pressure. Big pressure for Boo. Oh. Oh, wow. Oh, my God. I mean, the return from Goffin was great. I thought he did well to time it because he got it right in that corner. And then somehow the athleticism from Boo managing to get the ball up there. He got it up high. I don't know how he got it back. I mean, I guess, you just get it back, and then Goffin was kind of all over the place there. But I don't know if the sun as well, though, because it looks sunny there. If that was maybe bothering him, but and it's Boo, good play there. So he will have a match point here. But I swear, like, Boo on his forehand side, he's so good at, like, on the stretch, and that bit of defense helping him out there. Good serve. Is he going to be able to finish it off? And it is an error from Goffin, and Goffin smashes the ball away. He's obviously frustrated with how that ended, but there you go.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
I'm going to change to my microphone. I didn't see the flip, but I saw the second. Oh, David Goffin did so much of the hard work getting himself back into it. But the way he lost serve in that very loose service game that began with that very dodgy volley at the net, and then there was a few. It wasn't just the volley at the net. Even the other points he gave away seemed a bit cheap to me. It wasn't the most difficult of breaks, and then he gives himself another chance with that break point. But his footwing, his positioning, I think it may have been the sun. I don't know. But as soon as that bounced up, I could see that just because of where he was stood, it made that smash a little bit more difficult. I think it was almost behind him where he was hitting the ball. I don't know if there was some wind, the sun. But instead of being a smash that you're kind of attacking, he was kind of like in the all wrong. It was just his. It's almost like when you're. I don't want to compare David Goffin to a beginner, but it's almost like when you're teaching someone who's not played tennis before, and you can see that they've misjudged where the ball is bouncing. Now, in David's case, of course, that'll be external factors, whether that was the sun or the wind, or maybe even someone shouting out from the crowd. I know there was the umpire saying something about that during that point. But either way, he got it all wrong, and Boo goes through. Do you want to have a couple of nice words to say about Boo after my David Goffin takedown?
Yeah, I mean, certainly he should have done better at that moment. I mean, we can see the stats there, though. I think, definitely Boo deserved to win overall. 31 winners to 26 unforced errors for Boo. 28 winners to 38 unforced errors for Goffin. But, I mean, that particular last point, that was one of those ones, though, where I don't really know, because Goffin did so well there. I was just surprised that Boo was able to get the ball back in. And I guess it's, if you do get it back, then there's a chance that your opponent's going to make an error like that, and which is obviously what happened in Goffin's case, and it turned out to be very crucial. But yeah, I just think like Goffin, this first the first set wasn't playing particularly well, and Boo was holding comfortably, and then coming up with big serves at crucial points, and then it did get much better in the second set, and I thought Goffin did play some good, nice tennis, but at the end of the day, it was just a bit too little, too late, and it's Boo who gets a victory that he probably really needed. So it's good for him.
It's going to be Boo against De Minaur next. Now that's going to be a test.
Yeah.
I guess if you're going to play someone like a De Minaur, in fact, especially maybe a De Minaur, just getting him right now might be a little bit easier than if you get him in the first round of Canada or Cincinnati. That's putting a positive spin on it. Boo has obviously had a match today. De Minaur hasn't played on hard, I guess, since the Sunshine Double. If indeed he was fit at that stage of the season, I think he was, but I know he's had a few spells out injured and stuff. But it's been a while either way since De Minaur played on a hard court. So that's the positive spin, and maybe Boo can, as a result, sneak the first set somehow, and then who knows?
Yeah, but will be pretty tough because I just think like at the moment De Minaur tends to be beating the players that you expect him to beat. Which is why his ranking so high. But he did play well in at Wimbledon, didn't he? Took a set off Djokovic as well, but just couldn't sustain it. But I kind of feel like it's going to be really tough for Boo against De Minaur. I'll be surprised if he does get the victory, but who knows? His best, performances have come on the hard courts that was in his home country. But obviously he's looking pretty good here. So we'll see what happens.
The hard courts are his best surface, though, right? For Boo, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So there's a chance. I can see him taking a set, maybe the first one, but ultimately De Minaur win. I just want to get a couple of minutes from you, Eddie. I know it's pretty late, but I just want to get 2 minutes from you on Rybakina and Boko. I'm really intrigued. It was actually not on my radar. I didn't even know they were going to be playing each other until you mentioned it during the commentary. And I think it's quite exciting. I fear a little bit for Rybakina just because, again, she's probably someone that could do with a match or two and a win or two to get her confidence as much as anything else. I think I described Rybakina recently as the most inconsistent player on tour. I saw, and I it was a loose comment. It wasn't scientific. I didn't think about every player in the top 100 and think about it. But and I got a rightful comment on Twitter, I think it was, which was just the words that, what about Ostapenko? And that's a good shout. I even think though there's an argument for Rybakina because I think Rybakina goes into some Grand Slams as the favorite or second favorite if she brings her A game. So I think that her A game is apparent maybe more often than even Ostapenko. I've not gone into a Grand Slam ever thinking that, probably in her entire career, despite the fact that she has won one, I've never thought Ostapenko's winning this Grand Slam. I know that she can beat anyone on her day. But I've gone into slams with Rybakina, and Wimbledon this year was a case in point. I have no idea at which round she's going out. Absolutely no idea. She could get to Swiatek and lose that. She could lose to Towson. She did in the third round. She's one of these players as well that you fancy to win the tournament, and then suddenly you decide to tune into her match because she's a set and a breakdown and you can't believe it, to somebody that you wouldn't really expect to struggle against. You see her up a set and a break, I think it was, or certainly up a set on Krejcikova in the semifinals last year, and you think she's going to cruise to this title, bearing in mind the hurdles she had left in front of her, and suddenly she loses that match, and you kind of can't quite work out how or why. And the US Open has traditionally been her weaker slam, I think, even weaker than the French Open. And yet she's got all the tools to win Washington without a doubt, but she could also lose to Mboko. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, the conditions should be good for her, really, but it's not actually ideal, though, is it? The first match she has to play against Mboko, who, by the way, got in just with a wild card. Good choice because she came through comfortably against Potapova, and obviously just massive talent in Mboko. So she's going to be, probably coming out swinging and not going to be feeling too much pressure. This is all just new for her, and she's just probably going to be enjoying it. But it's not like she's not played big matches because she's in Mboko. She got to the third round at Roland Garros. She lost to Zheng, but She won a lot of matches there. She came from qualifying, and then so it's going to be interesting. I think obviously it's a hard court, so I think that's going to be fine. It suits Mboko as well, so it's going to be interesting, and I definitely intrigued to see how that match goes. I'm not sure when that's going to be.
So it's not tonight or today in Washington. Therefore it'll be probably Wednesday. I don't know if you can play as late as Thursday. Your first match will be around 2. Do they have all the quarterfinals maybe on Friday and then so maybe even Thursday? I think that is possible if they have round 2 on Wednesday and Thursday, and then the quarterfinals on Friday and semis on Saturday and final on Sunday. So it could be as late as that. And obviously Rybakina has won a match in Washington already in the doubles alongside Raducanu, really tight 3-set or 11-9 in the deciding set tiebreak. I think it was. So in the decider. I and Mboko, I don't know if you've seen a lot of Mboko. She's obviously having a bit of a breakout year, right?
Just like won an insane number of matches, right? Just basically beating everyone on the ITF. So it was just obvious that she's obviously too good for that level. And then when she got her chances to enter the bigger tournament, she's done very, very well. I mean, some of the matches that she's lost, I mean, they're only to be she lost to Coco Gauff, right? And then obviously to Zhang. So I mean, she's not like the complete player there yet, but she's obviously got big weapons, and she has clearly great potential. Still only 18. I mean, she's won. Obviously, this is including ITF. She's won 45, lost 8. So I mean, obviously that's a lot of matches she's won, and she's gonna come in with no pressure, I think. I mean, obviously having won that first match as well, chance to play Rybakina, I think this is a huge opportunity for her.
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly, I think any of the sort of results are possible here. I could see a world where Mboko wins this in straights. I could also see Rybakina doing the same, and obviously in 3 for either player. Just wonder if maybe with that doubles match that Rybakina had, she's she's obviously pretty fresh. Went out, third round at Wimbledon, so she's decided to. It's a lot of players right now. It's interesting to see their warm ups towards the US Open. I think I've been saying this for a couple of years now that Alcaraz might not play just looking at Alcaraz, but I'll bring it back to Rybakina in particular in a moment, but. Looking at their build, I said this 2 years ago, not thinking about the Olympics in 24, but also the 12-day Masters that we now have for Cincinnati in 25, for example, and Canada as well. I think is just I said then when Alcaraz was losing in Canada, I'm going to say to Tommy Paul maybe in 23, and then he looked. Just in the absolute latter stages of his match with Djokovic in the final of Cincinnati, just looked like he was struggling with an injury, I think, in that tie break. And I think it was decisive in helping Novak get over the line there. I remember on match point, a very impatient return of serve from him. And I said that, and then seeing how his US Open panned out, and he was just struggling a bit physically. I just thought that even then, that was too long a stretch for him, and I think it's too long a stretch for others. However, if you're in Rybakina's situation and you go out early and you don't play as much tennis as Carlos has in terms of, pretty much he's in the final of every tournament he played from, I'm going to say Monte Carlo all the way until Wimbledon. Yeah, he's been in the final of, I think, every tournament he's entered. He's only lost 1 match or 2 matches. Holger Rune in the final when he was also struggling physically, skips Madrid and then wins, obviously, Rome. So it's a bit different for Rybakina and some of these the players that we're seeing. It's no coincidence. The players that we're seeing in Washington on both sides of the draw, but looking now back at the women, are the ones that went out early or pretty early, super early in the case of Jessica Pegula, but also pretty early in the case of Rybakina in round 3, who are ready to go for it in Washington. And I think those players might skip Cincinnati. You know, they might go the other way and do this one and then Canada, or even see how this goes. And then, you know, there's a chance. I'm just thinking that if you are just feeling it physically and you're a top 10 player and you think you might be better off practicing during Cincinnati, again, it might suffer as well. But ultimately, it'll be Canada that suffers more, as we're already seeing with this raft of withdrawals. And we might see one or two more even yet.
Yeah. I mean, I probably expect like Sinner, for example, to play Cincinnati. But
I think these big players will play Cincinnati. I think they will, unless, like I say, let's just say Rybakina gets to the finals of both Washington and Canada, for example, and you know, maybe she's feeling it physically, Pegula as well. You know, who knows? I'm trying to think who else. Navarro, of course, these are sort of the biggest, the top seeds in these two tournaments. But bringing it back to Mboko, I don't know. I sort of just started thinking through and just thought, you know what? Maybe this might be just a year too soon for her to be beating the absolute elite. And on her day, Rybakina is. So I was starting to talk myself into an Mboko win, but maybe now I'm just going to hold off and play it safe and go Rybakina, but I might regret it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like Rybakina still wins, but it's maybe like a close 2-set victory. But like Mboko, I think she'll probably make it competitive. So I think that's a reasonable expectation. And yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Absolutely. Big thanks for today's commentary, Eddie. Wonderful to have you. Make sure if you're watching on Talking Tennis, do check out his YouTube channel at Tennis Asia TV. I think that's also the handle on X. And of course, hit the like button and subscribe wherever you're watching, and follow us on all the socials. I know we're on Instagram as well, or both Eddie with Tennis Asia TV and also Talking Tennis as well. And yeah, we'll catch up with you all very soon. Thanks, Eddie.
Cheers.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.